It's that time again where I need to make a killer tier list. So this is going to include the 4.7 PTB, which includes the Trickster buff, the Demogorgon buff, the Hunter Saddle changes, and the Twins nerf. As usual, this is just going to include up to green add-ons and high potential, not maximum, because it's unrealistic to expect absolute maximum potential from every killer, but very high potential killer, and against four good survivors, potentially in a survivor friends. I'm going to keep it brief this time for most killers because I've already explained multiple times in other tier lists what I think of killers, so I'll just keep it brief except for the new ones or if they've been changed. I'll start with a D tier, and the worst killer in the game, in my opinion, is probably the pig. As usual, like I said, Trapper and Pig can be switched depending on the map, but I think on average Pig is worse. As usual, she is shit, and either she can't really get anyone that she is fast. Her dash at a loop is very easy to counter. It can't be used at most loops and can actually backfire if you crouch and a survivor runs away from a loop, and then you dash around and they're already gone. That can seriously hurt you. And her reverse bear traps can be very inconsistent and might not even get you that much slowdown. Next is Trapper. He's also super shite because Trapper spends so long setting up his grabbing. You have to go grab your trap, you have to go set it up. You grab another trap, you set it up. Whether you have a bag add-on or not, it doesn't matter. And once you've got all these traps set up, they might not even be useful. They might just get disarmed. Survivors might not run into them. It's so bad. And even if they get trapped, for all you know, they might go in their first try, and that's like trap completely wasted. He's so shit. Trapper is so bad at the minute. It sucks to play him, and he's absolutely horrible. He needs a massive change. So many buffs. Next is Cloud. He is also really shit. He just got his rework not too long ago there, but he's still so bad. At the end of the day, Clown is still a chase killer with a shit chase. You know, Clown has got no extra mobility, no slowdown, no stealth, no nothing. He's got his chasing power, and it's not a good chasing power. It's very easy to loop a Clown for a solid amount of time. He gets pallets faster than the average killer, and he will down you faster than the average killer, but it's nowhere near enough to warrant the fact that he has no other extra abilities. He's really bad and still needs a lot of buffs. Next is Trickster. Now, before this wee buff he's getting here, I actually would have put Trickster below Clown. Maybe not the worst killer in the game, but I still would have put him below Clown because similar to Clown, he's a chase killer but without a very good chase. There's literally no reason to play this guy over Hunters. It takes about the same time when you, as Trickster, when you lift your knives and you throw maybe one or two. By that time, Hunters would have just pulled out a hatchet and threw it at you. Death Singer would have shot you. Demogorgon would have pounced on you. Executioner would have used his punishment. Trickster is just so bad. You need to land 8 knives, and to land these knives takes so long, and you're slow. You got no mobility, no stealth. You've got nothing except for these knives that really aren't that good at downing survivors. It still takes pretty long. Although with this recent buff, his chase isn't terrible. His chase is okay, but unfortunately, that's all he has is an okay chase. So at the minute, Trickster is still very weak. Main event needs a complete rework. It needs to be actually an ability. Maybe if they made main event super strong, then I can see Trickster maybe being bumped up a wee bit. But as for now, he's still really bad. Next is Myers. Now, Myers, I might be moving down in the tier list. I'm going to keep him in C tier for now. I'm going to keep him at the bottom of C, but I can definitely see myself moving him down if things keep going the way they're going, if he doesn't get buffed soon. Because Myers is also pretty damn weak. He's got really no extra anti-loop. He wastes a lot of time stalking. The only pluses to Myers is the fact that he can insta down in tier 3. He's got that extra launch in tier 3. And he's also got a super small terror radius in tier 2, especially if we're on Monitor and Abuse. So Myers can do some okay stuff, but at the end of the day, he's still pretty shite. And you will lose most of the time if the survivors are half decent. Next is Legion. Legion has been a pretty damn weak killer for a very long time now. I'd say Legion actually has a pretty high play rate, and not even a bad kill rate, but Legion is just such a neglected killer, and it's really sad to see because I think they could do some cool stuff with Legion, but as for now, Legion is still a pretty shit killer. They're just not very good. They're anti-loop, they can get the free hit, but the second hit they need to get themselves. Mobility wise, they have a little bit extra mobility. You can use your frenzy for mobility, but it's really not that much at all. and you can slow down, but other than that, there's nothing stopping survivors from just doing gens and just looping you. Maybe if Feral Frenzy, maybe if Legion had another power that helped them get the second hit, and a Feral Frenzy gave them extra mobility, maybe like 150% movement speed or something like that, then that would be a lot better for them. But as for now, they're still pretty shit. Next is Leatherface, and holy shit, is this killer overrated? People went from saying this guy's the worst killer in the game to super high tier simply because they made his chainsaw last about twice as long, just about twice as long. Now, Leatherface isn't terrible. Leatherface is a lot better than he used to be, but he's still weak. Leatherface, at the end of the day, like I said, is still he's got a lethality power. His ability is just not very good at getting downs. It's very easy, like to avoid his chainsaw. Right, you can avoid Leatherface's chainsaw as long as you have a TL wall, a jungle gym, a filler pallet, a main building window, anything, and you can avoid his chainsaw. If he outpositions you, yeah, it's a free down, but at the end of the day, it's still just super easy to just take a Leatherface on a fat chase, and there's nothing he can do. If he drops chase, he hasn't got mobility to get around the map, he's got no stealth. So at the end of the day, Leatherface still isn't a great killer, but he is a lot better than he used to be. But absolutely overrated. This guy is still weak, and you got people putting this guy up in A tier, and it's absolutely disgusting. High C tier, we're gonna have Wraith. Now Wraith is actually climbing up the ranks quite a bit. He's received quite a few buffs. You know, he got the lunge buff. Then he got the invisibility buff. I know he's got the cloak speed buff. Wraith is just gathering up these buffs, and he's slowly creeping his way up. You know, from being one of the worst killers to actually almost breaking into B tier. He's still pretty weak in the sense that he can't get downs that fast, and his stealth still isn't great. If they remove the grunts that he makes in Cloak, I think that would be a huge change for him. And maybe give him some extra uh, chasing power. Then I actually think Wraith would probably be a really solid killer, and I actually say overtake Gooseface. Talking about Gooseface, he's going to start B tier. I used to put Gooseface a lot higher, but like at the end of the day, he's not great. He's a solid killer. Gooseface is a killer that if you play decent, you will actually beat a fair amount of teams. But at the end of the day, it's not hard to beat Gooseface. You know, no extra mobility. Once you're in a chase, if you see him coming, it's over. He can't get ahead on you. You know, he's got nothing to help him in the chase. Survivors don't really fall for the crouch mind games anymore. But he still kind of can set stuff up with these stocks, 99 in people, and then just getting a random down, which can seriously help him. But yeah, like I said, Gooseface isn't great. He's just decent. Next is Plague. Plague's also got like she's got a wee buff with the extra corrupt purge and stuff like that, but she's still not great. Her early game is absolutely terrible. Um, and she does like beat like fairly easily most teams. You know, like these average survivor or solo survivors. But against a good team, she doesn't really stand a chance because by the time you get everyone infected and you get your game actually set up, you're already going to be losing like 2 or 3 gens at that point, and you just can't recover from that. So Plague isn't great. She can get a snowball, but she's just super easy to see and loop. You know, if you don't have that corrupt purge, it's so easy to loop a Plague, whether you're injured or not. And if people have dead hard and resilience and stuff like that, you're basically screwed. And also in B tier is Demogorgon, which is an absolute shame because Demogorgon has just got these buffs that were promised, and they are so underwhelming. It's not even funny. He's he's not really climbing. I would love to see Demogorgon in A tier because I easily think Demogorgon could be A tier, but he's just not going to get there because these buffs aren't good. The add-on pass has brought like maybe 2 good add-ons in the Black Heart and Barb's Glasses. They're pretty solid. These are ideas which I said should be implemented base kit, like the faster pallet break speed should it be a base kit thing. They're buffing his base charge speed for shred, the movement speed, but it still won't be enough. It's like 4 or 5% more. I think they added. I think it's 4%. That's not going to really make a difference. Rat liver already didn't make a huge difference, but it did make enough of a difference to be a good add-on. But this base charge speed isn't going to really help Demogorgon. The faster recharge in his portals, the faster speed, these things are just tiny little things that don't really address the core issues with this killer. So as for now, Demogorgon's still going to just sit and beat here forever. And just above Demogorgon, I'm going to put the twins. They're getting a nerf. In the next update. Their iridescence are getting a buff, but that doesn't matter because I'm not counting iridescence and they're not that great anyway. I'm gonna assume that the increased cooldown on missed attacks is a or on successful attacks is a bug, and the missed attacks are the ones that are getting the extra cooldown. So I'm just gonna say it's a bug for now, and take that into account. Twins will still be decent. They won't be great, but they will be a fairly strong killer as long as you still just play like an absolute scumbag. Not fan of the twins. They definitely need some changes. Probably the lowest player rate, I'd assume. I never see them. I never play them. I never see anyone like make content on them. So I'd say they will get more changes in the future. But as for now, they're just going to sit at the middle of B tier. Almost at the end of B tier is going to be Doctor. Doctor's a pretty damn good killer. He does struggle against really good teams, but against most teams, a good Doctor is actually pretty scary. You know, the best tracking in the game. This is sort of Doctor's this is sort of his little thing that he has, which is the best tracking. Uh, Doctor, he always knows where we are. A good doctor will most likely know where all survivors are most of the time, which is really good. That's really strong to know where survivors are. It's very underestimated. The ability to just find survivors immediately saves him a ton of time, and his chase is also pretty solid, especially with discipline add-ons and increased range. So Doctor is definitely a solid killer. He can get beat because he hasn't got any extra mobility, and his chase allows you to allows you to get faster downs at loops, but it doesn't allow you to get like a super fast down when you need it. Like when you really need a survivor to get down, like I'm talking, you need them down in like 20 seconds. Like Doctor can't do that for you, which is unfortunate, but he is still a pretty strong killer. And unfortunately, Hillbilly is going to close off B tier, which is such a shame. This killer should be up in S tier right below Oni, but unfortunately he isn't. That the rework absolutely destroyed this killer for me and for a lot of people. They just made him so crap to play. His add-ons are absolutely terrible. His base kit is annoying. The overheat just gets in the way. It slows your game down, giving survivors even more free time to reset, to do gens, to heal, to save. It sucks. It's really bad. But Hellbilly is still a solid killer. He's still a decent killer, but he's just so much worse than he used to be, and it's such a shame because we know what this killer can be like, and we know what this killer was like, but and then we just have him in a state, and it's just so it's horrible to see. It really is horrible to see. I really hope they do something with Hellbilly that completely revert would be best case scenario, but they're not going to do that. Let's be honest. Starting out here is going to be the Nightmare. I used to put Freddy a lot higher, and the reason he's so low isn't because of his nerfs, although they did make him a bit weaker. I think I just sort of put the Nightmare up high because most other people did, but then when I actually play the Nightmare, when I play against him, and when I actually get a good look at it, he's not a very good killer. He's similar to Leatherface, where he's just super overrated. He's not actually that good. He's a huge noob stumper. It's really easy to beat average survivors and bad survivors with Freddy. It gives the illusion that he's really strong, when in reality he's actually not. His chase is absolutely horrible if you're not asleep. He doesn't have anything if you're not even sleeping. And if you are sleeping, he's just like a glorified clown. Actually, worse than clown, I'd say. He probably is worse than clown, but you know, he's got the teleport and stuff like that. But he is still a strong killer. You know, he has got really good mobility with that teleport. To be able to teleport to any gen every like 30 seconds is pretty damn good. And he does have anti-loop and other stuff like that. With his nerfs, he'll be a bit weaker. But as for now, this is actually where I think he should sit because he actually isn't great. Next is Hag. It should be no controversy putting Hag here. I think ever since Ostarva put Hag in S tier, people have just been like literally just licking Hag's ass. It is insane how just like people can go from saying Hag is good to Hag is decent, and as soon as Ot says Hag is super strong, people are just like Hag is one of the best killers in the game. Similar to Freddy, Hag's a noob stumper. It's really easy to beat average and bad teams with Hag, uncoordinated teams, but when you get four survivors that know how to play against Hag, you'll probably have experienced this before. It is a nightmare. You might as well be playing Pig. It is horrible. But even against good survivors, a good Hag can still hold her own. If she gets lucky, if she gets a 3 gen, if the survivors make a mistake, she can pull through and win games. But coordinated teams will absolutely destroy a hag sometimes, especially in Hawkins. Hawkins seems like a really good map until good survivors just set off your traps immediately. Because in Hawkins, it's so easy to set them off, it actually almost works against you because you can't even keep a trap down for more than like 20 seconds. Next is Hunters. I actually think Hunters got a little buff with these add-on changes. Um, Her iridescent head got nerfed, which I'm not even counting anyway. Her exhaustion add-ons got nerfed, but her new add-ons, which increase hatchet flight speed, are actually pretty good. Now, they're not overpowered, and they do require you to learn hunters again, sort of, to get used to this extra speed. But when you do, you can actually do some crazy shit. Combine those add-ons, they actually fly 30% faster, which is a significant amount, and actually allows you to get really crazy hits sometimes. So Huntress is actually still a strong killer. She's just, pure lethality, similar to Trickster, similar to Clown, similar to Deathslinger, and she's got good lethality. She can pressure you from afar. She can get super fast downs, like hatchet into a regular hit, or hatchet into hatchet. It's just she can down you super fast if she's good and if the moment calls for it, which makes Huntress good. She's also got good snowball potential. She can down people pretty fast if they're all crowded up, but she has no stealth and no extra mobility, and you can loop a Hunters in the right places. You can loop a Hunters for quite a long time. Next is Blight. Now, this is probably a surprise to a lot of people because, as you know, I usually put Blight in B tier around Hillbilly and Doctor, but I've actually brought Blight up quite a lot on console. On PC, I would actually put Blight S tier, but on he's going to be on mid A tier in console. I actually think the FOV change for Blight on console severely helped him. It actually made him a lot nicer to play. Fixes collision, and he'll actually be pretty strong. Give him a little bit of extra turning, and on console, I'd argue he'd actually probably will be setting up S tier. But yeah, Blythe's got a solid chase, better than average, but not really as good as, say, Huntress and Executioner and Deathsinger and stuff. But what he has got going for him is the best mobility in the game. So when you combine the best mobility with an above average chase, you get a pretty damn strong killer. Like I said, a few wee tweaks for console, and Blight could be a super strong killer, and the better I get with him, the more strong he becomes. Next is Executioner. This guy sort of keeps getting nerfed quite a lot. He's got quite a few nerfs over the years. Well, over the year, I should say. And with the Undying and Ruin nerf, he's really lost his only viable gen aggression, but he's still a strong killer at the end of the day. His Punishment of the Damned is super strong in a chase. It allows you to down survivors pretty damn fast. And his cages do allow you to snowball. So overall, Executioner's a pretty strong killer. He's got a good anti-loop. It's not great, and he is countered by just holding W's, people say, otherwise just running early. And his cages aren't great. They can actually screw you over if you don't use them at the right times, but still a solid killer nonetheless. And in A tier, and once again, probably a surprise to a lot of people, is Deathsinger. Deathsinger is just super underrated. You hear a lot of the time people saying that he has no counterplay, but most of the time people still say he's a weak killer. Deathsinger is not a weak killer. The man's chase is so strong to the point where if he just plays a bit scummy, a bit sluggy, a bit campy, gets a 3-gen, he will actually beat most teams just because he can down so fast, monitor and abuse, he can sneak up on you. Save the best for last, he sneaks up on you with monitor and abuse, gets his free hit, immediately shoots you with save the best for last, that's you down in about 10 seconds. He's just really, really strong. There's a lot Deathsinger has going for him. He does have some weaknesses, like the fact that he's got no extra mobility, but he does have that. He does have that stealth, and he does have the lethality to make up for it. So Deathsinger overall is just a super strong killer, and he really is underrated, I think, because a lot of people just see him as a weaker hunters, but he's actually a stronger hunters because he's got less counterplay. There's like, I guess a good Deathsinger, you will go down super fast. You'll go down in less than 30 seconds if the Deathsinger's good every time, which is really strong. Starting S tier is Oni. Once again, I'm going to put Oni up on S tier because I do think he is S tier on most maps. And I think if they keep reworking maps and reduce the safety of loops, if you don't have every loop is that like 100% safe, like on Macmillan, Alt Heaven, not every loop is fully safe. Oni will get a hit on you in a reasonable amount of time. Let's say you find someone like 15 seconds into the game, you could reasonably get hit within like 30 seconds. And once you get that hit, You can break off, get another hit, you can follow and get blood. Once you got your power, you can seriously snowball. A good Oni will fairly easily get two downs, even if the survivors are good. Even if they're like really good survivors, a good Oni will be able to get two downs per power, which gives them insane pressure. But like, there's not much more I can say about Oni. You know, I'm main Oni, so I know how strong he is. I know what he can do, and I barely ever lose. I can't remember the last time I actually lost with Oni. And if I did lose, it's because I wasn't even playing that well, or if I wasn't trying very hard. So yeah, Oni's just super strong. If it weren't for the fact that good team, like real, like tournament level teams can deny that hit for a good like minute and a half, and pump out like two or three gens before he can even get a hit, then he would absolutely be even better than Spirit. But as for now, he's just going to set the bottom of S tier. If played really well, and if he's got a good map going for him. Next is Spirit. As usual, Spirit is just she's really good. She's got the one of the best chases in the game. Little counterplay once again, similar to Deathslinger. Deathslinger's got a better chase than her, but what Spirit has going for her is the mobility. Spirit's chase doubles, or is her ability doubles as a mobility tool and a chase tool. Similar to Nurse. In fact, Spirit is actually super similar to Nurse because their abilities, they allow you to get downs faster and they allow you to traverse the map a bit faster as well. It's just that Nurse does it well. You know, Nurse has more mobility than Spirit, and Nurse has a better chase than Spirit. Spirit's really good in the 1v1. She can down you super fast if she perfectly tracks you. Although, like, even a good Spirit will not land every phase. And if she does miss a phase, she does get punished quite heavily. You know, she has to wait a good, like, 10, 15 seconds for that phase to come back. So it's not all perfect. But like I said, you know, Spirit is still really strong. She will get you down pretty fast. And once she gets you down, she can use that phase to get across the map much faster than the average killer. She does sort of lie a weakness, you know. Spirit will still lose to really good teams because she can't get you down fast enough. You know, she can't down you in like consistently less than 20 seconds. You know, Spirit can't do that. You know, similar to Deathsinger, or who I'm about to talk about, which is Nurse. Nurse is still the strongest killer in the game on both platforms because she is just incredibly strong. Her 1v1 is super strong. She can snowball as well as she can just keep going from survivor to survivor, chaining blanks. There's really not much you could do against a really good Nurse, and she still has that extra mobility by blinking around the map. She can get the gens faster, so Nurse is still the strongest killer in the game, and for those reasons. So that is my tier list for now, up to this Trickster buff and Demogorgon buff and Twins nerf and all that. I'm pretty satisfied with it. I might make Myers lower next time, but I think everything else seems to be fine here. Leatherface is as low as he should be. Uh, Deathslinger is as high as he should be. Demogorgon is the middle tier as she usually is. Hag is lower as usual. But yeah, Blight's been brought up. I'm not sure if I want to keep Blight here. He might move down. He might move up. But I'm going to keep this so far. Let me know what you think. If you disagree, let me know what you disagree with. Make sure you've watched the whole video to get my reasoning. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.